Well, hello and welcome to episode 26 of Tui Snider's Offbeat and Overlooked. And I actually got it started right at the top of the hour, unlike last week. If you were here, you know there was some funny little glitches. Now, this is a streaming show where I interview a wide variety of experts. How wide, you ask? Or maybe you don't. Well, here you go. I interview people about cemetery symbolism, forgotten history, folklore, the paranormal, quirky travel, UFOs, Bigfoot, basically all the offbeat and overlooked people, places, and things that tickle my fancy. And as I always say, I have a very ticklish fancy. Now, in case you are new here, I'm Tui Snider. I write books, I give talks, and I do a lot of research, and I love sharing what I find with you guys. Now, I have got a really great guest for you, Becky Vickers, and I know some of you are already familiar with her, but if you're not, you're going to be pleasantly surprised. It's going to be a lot of fun. Before I bring her in here, I do have a little bit more to share with you, as usual. First off, I'd like to, this week's sponsor. For this week's sponsor, I chose 666 Insurance, which I just think, who on earth, they must have known what they were doing when they created this. And it's take 666 liquid or tablets twice a week and place the salve or nose drops in your nostrils night and morning to insure yourself now against epidemic of colds, etc. I just think that's crazy. I need to do a little research into this product because who would name their product 666? And this is from the 1800s, the 1880s. I do have to say, back then, there were products like the Devil's brand and stuff where I don't know, very strange. I don't know the story. Of course, the real supporters of this show are my Patreon supporters. Love you guys. That would be Bob, Connie, Ian, Scott, Ghost Cat, Jessica, Angel. Whoops. I don't know what I just did. I whacked my keyboard with my hand. Angel, Envy, Jay, Ken, Patty, Sarah, Julie, Margaret, Hugh, Mikhail, Naomi, Tim, Pete, Sarah, Rachel, and Tui, the other Tui, no relationship to me. I think that's cool. We share a strange name. Alrighty. So another thing I need to tell you guys about. Let me see, is anyone here? Oh, people are showing up. Oh, hi. Hey, Ken's here. Howdy, howdy. How's it? How are things up in Colorado? Wade, oh good, I'm so glad Wade's here because he had a question about orbs last week and I dug something out and made a little video clip to share. Gail is here. Hi, Gail. Whoop, nice to see you. Thank you for coming. Nancy L. Well, hello. Thank you for coming as well. I'm glad we have some viewers here. You guys are going to love Becky if you don't already know and love her. Now, death theme music. Why do I have that up there? That's because if you were here last week, remember I had Greg Bishop, and Greg is quite accomplished and does all sorts of things. One of the things is that he has had a music show since the late 90s, and it's been on various channels. At one point, it was on a pirate radio station. Well, he invited me to be his co-host this last Monday and do a set of death-themed songs. And it is funny because a lot of them were really pretty cheery. There's one that I found from Harry Belafonte called Judy Drowned. It's this like really happy boppy song about a gal who drowns. There's a whole bunch of other ones. We had a lot of Cab Calloway in there. Here's one of the Cab Calloway St. James Infirmary. And so if you want to listen to the show, and it's a good thing to listen to maybe if you're house cleaning. It's actually, like I said, surprisingly cheery considering the theme was death. And I do have links in the box below if you want to check it out. So, oh yeah, that watch party. Okay, so let me tell you, I know if you've been coming to these shows, you guys already know that a couple months ago, I went down to Austin. The city of Austin filmed me all day long, 9 hours, walking around a cemetery. And they just point to a stone and say, tell us about the symbols here. Tell us about the symbols there. And then they had these professional videographers who they stitched all together. And the production values are so nice. Yeah, you got to check it out. Now, I had a watch party for it, I don't know, on Sunday. But now there's just a link. And once again, link is in the description box if you want to see it. It's 40 minutes long. And there's a lot of information in it. You might enjoy it if you're here because it's all about veterans symbols. Maybe they'll have me back to talk about general symbols because there were so many things I wanted to look at. So, see who else is here. Oh yeah, Wade, he did a couple of videos about orbs. That is so funny. I know what he and I always kind of have this synchronicity thing happening. I love it. I love it. Connie, hi. Thank you for coming. And Charisse, yay, you said you were going to set your some sort of reminder. I don't know if you did. The YouTube reminders don't always work for me. So I'm glad everyone who is here made it. Now, I'm going to show you this video that I kind of cobbled together. The production values are nothing like the production values that you're going to see on the professional one, but still, let me give a little bit of a backup to it. I took one little still from it. So there's like the main orb that I saw. And this was up in Hugo, Oklahoma in September of 2019, I believe. I wrote it down, all the details on the next slide so I don't have to garble them. And here is what happened. It's just kind of a utility room. I mean, you know, we were at the depot there, and we were doing an overnight investigation at the Hugo train depot. And this upstairs area where we had been had once been a Harvey Girls. It was the boarding rooms for the Harvey Girls. And the Harvey Girls would work at these train stations, and they would have like a dorm mother who would watch over them, and then they would work at the dining area in train depots. As people came through and got off the train, they would need to eat. They had these spiffy little uniforms they had to wear and all that. Well, apparently this depot up in Hugo, Oklahoma is haunted. So I was there for an overnight paranormal investigation. And there was a guy showing us around who'd been there quite a lot. And he was pointing to the people to the room to the right of this. But something in me was telling me, just kept pulling my attention to this room. And he's like, there's nothing over there. Come over here. And I'm like, eh. So I took some Facebook. Yeah, Connie, you guys were there. You guys, okay. So I took some Facebook Live, not Facebook Live, iPhone Live pictures, which are just little snippet, short little videos. So you're taking like a regular photo, but if you hold still, it's kind of like a video. And I took about 5 in a row of this room. And the first one was at, 11:51 p.m. because there's a time stamp on my picture. And I don't think the sound will come through when I play it, but I actually squeal because I saw this with my naked eye. That's why I love this. I can be really suspicious of orb photos. I mean, I will never make fun of you if you're all excited and you show me an orb photo, but I just, it's the world. I have to eat crow sometimes too. Sometimes things that I'm rolling my eyes at, then I experience it. Just saying how it goes for me sometimes. So I saw this thing, maybe this big, just kind of whiz by, and I'm going, because it went right by me. All right, and then get this. It goes right by me, and so I kind of follow it. I just look over, and as I'm looking over, I see this lady who she is walking into a room that we are not supposed to go into. And so I'm all indignant. I'm like, hey, and I go to follow her like, what are you doing there, lady? And yeah, Connie's like, that was great night. This was a really fun night. So I go, hey, what are you doing? And then I walk and I realize, oh, wait, the room that she just walked into is closed. You can have a halfway door, a door that only opens halfway down. So there's no way she could have just walked right in that. And she was wearing big puffy. The main thing I noticed about her was she was wearing this big puffy mutton arm, what are they called? Mutton leg, a Victorian outfit. And I could describe the print and everything on it. I didn't see her face, but other people have seen her as a full body apparition. Now that's the closest I've ever gotten to a full body apparition. I really thought it was a person and she went in there. All right, so let me play this for you. What's going to happen is you'll see it about 6 times in a row, and then I use it on slow motion. Here's the funny part that I didn't realize until I was preparing for this show. I went through all the pictures. About a half hour later, I came back because I was just like, what did I see there? It was kind of driving me nuts. And guess what? This time, an orb comes into the room. So that first time, I see an orb come out of the room, and you're going to see that because I show it several times in a row, and then it'll be slow motion. Then you're going to see the an orb zip back into the room. I didn't notice it with my naked eye that time because it's quicker. So hopefully here, I'll just play it and then you guys just say whatever you want to, whatever you think. It's not the, well, whatever. I guess I can keep talking. All right. Did you see it? Okay, there it goes again. It just comes zook out. I think I have about 6 times in a row because I always want to see these things over and over. All right, now I do it in slow motion for you. See? And I saw that. And I wasn't the only one. We were like, ah, what was that? And then, yeah. So that was not, to me, very exciting. Okay, now this time it's coming back. I come back a half hour later and it's zipping back into the room. I didn't see a lady this time. And here I'll have a little, yeah. And now, so there you go. That's, oh, here's slow motion. It was kind of bright toward the end. So that was my big orb experience. And I don't know, what are they? What really got me was I then saw apparently an apparition. I don't know. So, hey, hi, Debbie. I'm so glad you could make it. Always good to see you. Okay, so that was my big thing. Now, before I bring on our guest, I just want to remind you guys to please hit the like button down there. That makes me so happy. Sometimes I get like 35 views and there's only 2 likes after the show. Like, I'm like, what happened, people? Don't you love me? All right, I'm going to tell you about our guest, and I'm bringing her on here, Becky Vickers. Now, Becky Vickers, if you don't know who she is, you're going to find out. She has spent decades researching the paranormal. When she was only 17, her grandfather died, and she really struggled with this. And because of that loss and the intensity of her feelings, it inspired her to start a paranormal group, and she calls it Behind Every Cloud is a Kindred Spirit. And if you make an acronym out of that, it spells Bex, which is so cool, isn't it? Now, her group, I've mentioned this before. I have, when I was writing my travel guide to haunted places in North Texas called Paranormal Texas, I spent time and went on a whole bunch of investigations with different paranormal groups. And I got to tell you, there are some terrible ones out there. Ones that just aren't professional, don't know what they're doing, you know, having fun, but they're just chasing adrenaline. But Becky's is very professional. She knows what she's doing. Plus, it's fun. There's usually food, really great food. Everyone's having a good time. It's that perfect blend of we're here to have fun and enjoy ourselves, but we're also going to be professional about it and set up everything and see what we can find. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring her in here. Oh, I got to tell you, I did something a little different this time because Becky is traveling all the time. And she just seems like if you follow her on Facebook, you are going to see she is always on the road, like from one paranormal hotspot to another. You know, she'll be seeing Robert the Haunted Doll, and then she'll be seeing, I don't know, all other places, Waverly Sanitarium, you know, all these places that people know about. So what I did was I swiped a bunch of photos from her Facebook feed because she's been busy. She's been traveling. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to swipe a bunch of stuff and we'll just see. That she also wrote a really wonderful and well-researched book about Goatman's Bridge. Some of you may have been to that. She leads the original Goatman's Bridge tour. This is in Denton, Texas. Now it has been, the name might sound familiar. It's been featured on things like, I know BuzzFeed's written about it and done videos there. Becky was on a show with Ghost Adventures there. So we maybe can pick her brain about that, or she'll share a little something with us. So we're going to talk about all this fun stuff and more. Let me see if we have some more people here. Philip, thank you for coming. Hey, well, if you missed part of the show, there's always a replay at the same exact link. Bex is a physical meeting group in Texas. Yeah, I've got links to her her blog, and talks about some of the investigations. Also, her Facebook group, and we'll be talking about some of them. It's a physical her paranormal group. She's had a lot of adventures with it. Okay, now I'm going to bring her in. I'm adding her to the stream. Hi, Becky. How are you?
I'm good. I'm exhausted after that intro. I'm busy.
You are busy. She's been everywhere. She's been everywhere. Hey, guys, now who are watching, if we sound okay or if one of us is too loud or there's an echo, let us know, of course. They're really good about that because sometimes it sounds great to us and then they're like, you know, we can't hear you or something. Oh, you guys, they have not been yet. I do have her in my book, Paranormal Texas, Goatman's Bridge. You got to go to it. You guys have got to read her book. It's really good. You'll love it. Okay. Yes, I know you have been. You are traveling all the time. I've got to say. In fact, that was one of my first questions for you. You just led right into it. Let's just get into it because we got stuff to talk about. You just got back from Haunted America Conference, and you've been going to that a lot, haven't you?
Yes, for 25 years.
Oh, gee, is that all? Wow. So what all goes on there? Here's a picture. You can tell us some stuff.
Yeah, so that's a gift basket that I donated for a door prize this year.
Aww.
It's got over to the right, there's a frame. It's a 3D frame, and so it has an actual piece of the bridge, one of the planks, and it has a little ball of sand and some leaves from the haunted woods all around it. And ghost hunts never any fun till the end of the night when you can have a bottle of wine or tequila to celebrate.
Exactly.
So there's a bottle of wine and tequila, a little skull tequila. So just a fun basket.
How cool. Yeah, that looked like a fun basket. I love it. I know, like I was saying, I love going on your investigations because not only are y'all professional, you do stuff, there's also everyone kind of brings this great food too. And we're like munchies, 2 in the morning, you're getting a little tired, you can eat something. It's really good.
Look, we may not get ghost, but we're going to get full. So we always have food.
Definitely. Well, I like it. Now, where was this? I saw this on your Facebook page, and I'm like, what a beautiful home. And I'm assuming it's haunted because you were there.
It is. That is the McPike Mansion in Alton, Illinois. You've seen that on a lot of your TV shows, The Ghost Adventurers and different things. It's a beautiful place. They've done a lot of restoring of the windows. Old places, mansions are broken. But it's very haunted with friendly spirits. And shout out to Sharon. She always gives me free reins to walk around and prowl and take pictures. But if you're ever up in the Alton, Illinois, which is very haunted, the whole town, you guys should check it out. It's a cool place.
Yeah, so you've been going to this Haunted America for like 25 years. Wow, that is really something.
Yeah.
So they must know you all around town.
Well, it's the crazy girl in the alleys, taking pictures. But yeah, it's a great conference that next year's going to be our actual 25-year anniversary because we had to miss last year for COVID. So we're going to celebrate it next year. So all your listeners and fans should come up to Alton. It's Troy Taylor. He writes, lots of documentaries and an awesome wealth of knowledge with him. And it's a good time.
Oh, man, it looks like it. Well, that's great. If you keep going back, it must be a fun thing. I'm glad. Well, let me see here. What else? Oh, yeah, I saw a picture. Now, I don't know if this is something you went by on your way, but obviously seeing the cemetery, I was like, what? I'm just swiping this photo, and you got to tell me what's going on here.
Yes. This is one of those that I have a good friend named Mark that we stopped. We went to Waverly Hills together with a bunch of people, and we stopped at this really backwoods cemetery, abandoned, and there were people there. Unbeknownst to me, I'm thinking they're ghost hunters, and they're not. They're like drug dealers. But I'm going up, and I'm like, where are y'all from? What are y'all doing out here, Anyway, it's a long story.
That would be me.
Yeah, you're from Texas. We talk, right?
Exactly.
So this is a picture of an abandoned cemetery that was way out in the woods by itself, and I'm driving out there, and I can hear his mouth going, "Get in the car." So yeah, it was a fun cemetery. There's a guy named Billy Cook buried there that murdered like 6 people, 6 family members. And so it was one of those things too. I know every time you hear about a cemetery, it's like, where's that at? I got to go check it out.
Exactly. All right. Well, I have to add that to my list.
Yes.
Maybe if I get to drive up to the thing next year, I'm all ready.
Come with me. It's a good time.
I would love it. Now, I am curious. I just love this photo. I think it's your profile picture right now on Facebook, but like a smiley face tree, and then you look all cute, and what's going on?
So this is the cemetery that I was just talking about in Kentucky. Mm-hmm. And literally you had to go for miles into the backwoods to find it and across a pasture and all this kind of stuff.
Wow.
But the smiley face on the tree, I'm sure everyone has heard of the smiley face murderers.
Yeah.
And, that's when people, a lot of times it would be men that were murdered, but supposedly the murderer always left a smiley face of where he murdered someone.
God, it's so horrible. I love smiley faces.
I know. This is called Hell's Gate in Kentucky. Oh. And so it's supposedly very, very haunted. And there's no doubt it was creepy as hell. It's a very creepy place. But yeah, there was a smiley on the tree, which was a little concerning.
Yeah, that is. You're like, what is the story? Maybe I should be leaving. Well, I'm glad you were not there alone. I don't go to cemeteries alone. I always have someone with me because, you don't want that to be your last. You don't want.
Yeah,
I don't want to go. Oh, all right. Now I saw this picture. Like I said, I was just digging around on your Facebook page, and I thought, what was going? Yeah, what is going on here?
Oh, that is in Denton, Texas, at the Bears Den. This is something you guys can go on Facebook and come and do it. It's in Denton, Texas. It's called Ghost Gone Wine. And we actually investigate a 3-story old building. We sit down, we have wine and cheese, and we do a little PowerPoint on what we're going to hunt for and see. And this is one of our sessions where we were doing the REM pod. That's a REM pod in the middle with the flashlight. And so it's very unique and it's a lot of fun. So
now, in case someone doesn't know and hasn't been watching ghost, stuff, how do you use the flashlight?
The flashlight. I love the flashlight.
Me too. I think it's such a great.
I love the flashlight. You can buy them at Walmart for $10. The smaller ones, you get the ones with the little twisty. It doesn't need to be the push button. It needs to be a twisty. And you barely twist it. And the theory is that you can ask questions and the ghost will respond by turning the flashlight on and off for yes and no. So you have to direct that how you want them to answer it, though. So your yeses are turn the flashlight on, and your no's would be turn the flashlight off. And it's
really cool when you get a real responsive moment with that. That could be really fun. Oh, how neat! Well, yeah, go ahead.
Very inexpensive piece of equipment that everybody could use.
That's what I like. I like just it's great if you can afford the fancier equipment and everything, but I don't think that needs to be something that holds you back. I think good old. Just being observant is your best thing. Being observant. I think taking notes is important too. Now, I saw that you have been somewhere as I was digging around on your. I felt like a stalker. I was just like, whoa, where's she? But you have been to Casadega, Florida, which, oh my gosh, I have wanted to go there for so long. So tell us about it.
Oh my gosh, Casadega is a spiritualist camp. So every single person that lives in this town, it's kind of a very, very small town, is a medium, intuitive, or something like that. And so the picture that you have is of their little store that's in the middle of town, and they sell all kinds of stuff. And, it just helps with providing stuff for the little town, the little community. But the energy you can feel when you drive up to this place, all the little houses are very Victorian and are blue and purple and just unbelievable place. So definitely, Tui, this is your kind of place and you need to check it out.
I need to go there. Now, when you were there, did you get a reading or anything or attend a seance?
Yes. Oh, I did all of it. All of it. Girl, you've got to do it all. So yes, I got a reading.
Knock your socks off.
I loved it. And let me tell you that we stayed in the hotel. So for those of you who are 5-star people, this is not the place. It's very old, very authentic to its original, early 1900s character. Yeah. So it's not anything but a bed in the rooms, but a lot of fun. We walked around. We got some orbs. We got a few good EVPs. They do believe that their town, their little community, has a portal in the back down by the lake. And so that's a very interesting place. So
yeah. Oh gosh, I want to go. Oh, now back to the flashlight here. The McIntyres. We had an experience like that at our house in Walnut Springs with a radio. They turned it on and off as we asked them to. Oh wow, that is really neat.
It can happen.
That is cool. That is cool. Wow. All right.
Yeah,
Let's see what else
Casa Vega's awesome.
You know, I think maybe one of the last times I saw you was right before COVID hit when we all went to Miss Molly's in Fort Worth.
Yes.
That might be the last time I saw you. Well, this was a wonderful time. You know,
Wasn't
what's so
it
funny?
fun? Yeah.
It was in January, and here's one thing that cracked me up. We were just crossing the street to go there. It was kind of it was dark because it was January, and all of a sudden I hear a whoop because I have an app on my phone that lets you know if a tornado is coming, and I pull it out. And there's a tornado headed our way. So remember how we were all like, "Well, we're in this old motel. What are we going to do if a tornado hits?" It wasn't the best place to be, but yeah, that was a fun night.
It was a very scary night because it's thundering and the tornado alarms are going off, and we're like, "Where do we go?"
It was a dark and stormy night, but here's people. So this is an old, for people who don't know, this is in Paranormal Texas, by the way, of course, but this is in the stockyards in Fort Worth. And it was it's had a lot of incarnations. At one point it was an antique mall, but originally it was kind of an upscale brothel for the cattlemen. It wasn't, you know, as far as brothels went, this was like the 5-star joint or whatever, the upper class joint. And now it's a place you can stay, just a hotel. It says bed and breakfast on there. They don't really feed you anymore. But of course I was with Beck's Ghost Hunter, so there's plenty of food in the kitchen. And here's what the rooms look like.
Yeah.
Jeff Jones. Hi, Jeff. Thanks for coming. Yeah, so gosh, and you had this, tell them what you were finding with this. What is this called? FLIR, or what is this thing called?
That's our SOS cam.
Oh, okay.
If I recall, Tui, we were all in the madam's room. And I believe the little stick figure that you see was sitting in the bed. And then the larger one was outside the bed. So we do believe there were two spirits at that time.
And then go ahead.
And so all this does is pick up it picks up the energies, and you're able to see and ask them questions, to raise their hand, stand on their leg, whatever. But it's a good tool to have.
It was interesting. I remember there was one out kind of by the stairs.
Yeah.
And they were dancing. I think they were asking, like, can you dance? And it starts like doing a thing. I was like, what? It was so responsive. That really got me. Let me see what I was
There's no doubt that place is haunted, for sure. It's a fun place to go too.
Well, one of the strangest things there, now it was toward the end of the night. I remember everyone was falling asleep, and I can't, were you there? We were all sitting out in the main room, and we were all just kind of at that point where no one wants to go to sleep. And one lady had brought her teenage daughter, and she had gone to bed already. And these are hotel rooms, so they lock. If you go into the room and you shut it, it locks. So we're watching, and we're just all kind of like, you know, getting groggy. We look over, and the doorknob starts going, and you can see that someone's unlocking it. You're like, oh, she's like, oh, she's getting up. And then it opens about this much. And so she gets up to go talk to her daughter. She turns around, she goes, she is sound asleep. And we're all like, what? And the door had unlocked and opened by itself. And we're like, dang, we wish we'd taken a video of that, because that was like one of the craziest.
Yeah, and down in that same, I think Layla was even in one of those rooms, one of my team members, and they actually got locked in. Do you remember that, Tui?
No.
It was the same thing. They couldn't get out, and we were like, don't open the door yet. Let's see if they can get it open, because we hadn't been down there.
Oh, that's right. You guys were telling me about it. Yeah, I missed that part. I was elsewhere. I think I was eating something in the kitchen, but yeah, and you were all like, they got locked in. I'm like, what? And I had an experience there once, because I was the first time I was on Coast to Coast, I was sitting alone in that room because of the time zone. So from 2 to 4 in the morning, I'm on Coast to Coast, and then I'm off, and I'm like wired. So I was just sitting there. I was thinking eating brownie or something, and I smell like cigar smoke.
Oh.
And I get up and I run around. It was just right in this one area. And I'm just like, whoa, there's no reason I should be smelled. Of course, I couldn't wake anybody up. Everyone was asleep. But yeah, that was so weird. But yeah, definitely people should go there. That is a fun place.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, and then, yeah, I saw this was so funny too. When we got up in the morning, I don't know if this will work, but it was, we had a little bit of snow.
Yes.
Morning. That was so funny.
Insane weather.
Mm-hmm. And they've got this is a little John Wayne thing, and they have this little walk, like a John Wayne walk there. It's cool. Like the Hollywood stars, except it's the Fort Worth version. Someone is saying, Get Spooky Society uses these tools, flashlights, and the energy diagram. Do you know what he means by the energy diagram?
I don't know about an energy diagram. That is news to me. I'm interested in that.
Yeah, there's always something new coming out, isn't there?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Wow. Well, hey, that was super duper fun. So another investigation that I went with you on that really, really was amazing, I thought, to me. Even my husband, who, for those who don't know, my husband, his nickname is Archie Debunker, because he's not just skeptical. We'll be like driving to some sort of ghost hunting event, and he's like, I know exactly how many ghosts we're going to see tonight. 0, because they don't exist. He'll say nice things like that, and I'm rolling my eyes. But there have been times when things happen, and he can't come up with it. He doesn't know what to say. And a few of those have actually happened at Old Park Hotel. So one of the many reasons I like it. But maybe you could tell us a little bit about Old Park Hotel if you want.
First, I love Larry.
Yeah, obviously I do too.
He's awesome. I love him. Well, you and I both know this hotel is amazing. If you want shadow people, if you want voices, great EVPs, audio, video, whatever you're looking for, it's here. And doppelgangers, of course, Tui, we experienced that firsthand. So.
Yes. And I remember we were, what cracked me up, here's the owner, Connie, the LaFaves. And he showed us, Dan, yeah, and he showed us all around the place first. And while you guys were setting up your equipment, because you guys are good, and you spend, like, it takes a couple hours for you guys to get ready. So I was just trying to stay out of your hair, and stuff started. Like, you guys were taping down wires and setting up the central command center and putting cameras around. And Dan told me where he usually gets EVPs. So, and we had got one. He got one. He was showing us around. We did a little, remember that? Like, he's just showing us, so I like to sit here, and sometimes I get EVPs. And he said something, and he said something like, these people have come tonight. I hope you guys will like be sociable with them or something. I forget how I put it. And you hear a man's voice go, I'm right here. Is the EVP we got.
It's so good.
It was crazy. So I was like, whoa. So I was going to go up there and do, a little EVP session while I was waiting for you guys. But before I even got going, we heard someone walk in and call out like a man walk in. And you guys go, Tui, could you go see who that is? I go to the front door and nobody's there. And it's locked. You can't just walk in off the street. We thought Dan had come back. So this is a long way of saying this place was really crazy. And just a few pictures of it. Here is the old Park Hotel. Meet your friends here at the Park Hotel. Yeah. Oh, and I did. And then I also loved how you were driving home and you were listening to some EVPs, and one was so weird. I think you missed your exit because you like texted me and you were like, I think I got an EVP.
That's our secret, Tui.
It was so funny.
Yes, it happened. That's true. I have to go 30 minutes back around because I listened to my EVPs.
It was a long drive. I'm sorry that happened. I was all like, really? So yeah, and it was so weird is that I recorded something. I didn't know you had placed a recorder on the table next to me, and on your recorder you hear me singing, but on my recorder you don't. It is the goofiest thing. That really had me going. That was so weird. They're talking about SLS there. Okay, Wade had a question. Sorry guys, but in case my dad calls me, I haven't been putting my phone into Okay, so here we go. Someone says there's an app you can get as well as the cameras are expensive called Ghost Tube. Have you tried that?
I have tried Ghost Tube. It is interesting. And, there's a lot of apps out there that are just fun entertainment. But there are some that I think we have some validity to. And we have tried the Ghost Tube just recently, and it was pretty interesting. There's also the M2, which is a good app. There is also Ghost Radio. It sounds weird, the name Ghost Radio.
Yeah.
But fair warning, folks, those of you who download Ghost Radio, it pulls a lot of negative energy. I have put this on my phone, taken it off, put it on my phone, taken it off. Curiosity will get the best of me and I'll put it back on, and damn if it doesn't come up with a more bad intelligent answers. But so it's definitely one of the creepier ones. But yeah, we did try GhostTube and we're able to see some figures on that.
Oh, interesting. Okay, wow, that's good to know. Okay. Well, I just want to tell people that, yeah, if they can get a chance to go look up some videos about Old Park Hotel. I did put one that I did as a link below. I tried to be good and share lots of good links on this show for once. I don't always do that, so I'm all proud of myself. I actually did. But that was really one of the most amazing ones. And so, I wanted to call out Larry a little bit because, well, two things happened that night with my husband. So one of them was we were all in a room in the dark and we were getting some responses. I forget what we were using, but we were all like, one person saw me walk by the door, and then we were like, what? I'm over here. That was a weird thing. So it was almost like something was imitating me all night. And then we had one of those late night moments where everyone's quiet, but then we heard this rhythmic noise. And I remember someone, I think it might have been you, I forget who it was, you or someone on your team goes, guys, I'm hearing this rhythmic noise, kind of and I'm like, it was Larry snoring. He'd fallen asleep. So we put Larry to bed. And that was the funniest thing. And then later, the next day we were telling him, or when I mentioned, I played the two different videos. I mean, not videos, audio files back. Mine, where I say, I just wondered if someone was up here with me, and there's silence. Yeah. And then the one where on your recorder, and I said, and here's what Becky got, same exact time. You hear me go, I just wondered if there was someone up there. And then you hear me going, doot, 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 doot. And he just goes, oh, well, and I'm expecting him just to say something snide or snarky. And he just goes, well, perhaps that was just your counterpart from the multiverse checking in with you. And then he walks off and I'm like, what? It was like so weird. So if Old Park Hotel was insanely active, stuff was happening before we were ready. Yeah. And it got Larry to say something less than snarky.
Girl, that was one of the best experiences I've ever had with doppelgangers, because you wear your signature hat, right? That's
why I put it on today. I thought I gotta have the top hat on. I had this hat on and my little Yeah,
and so the shadow, I think it was Greg that saw you pass.
Oh yeah.
And he was like, Tui, did you just walk by me? And you're like, no, I'm way over here. And so that was awesome. And then you and I both on the the do was long. It wasn't like a split second.
No, it's I can't think, and I need to use it in a song, like compose a song with that, like my multiverse self, because I got the biggest chills when I heard that, because I thought, anyone can think that something sounds like you. Have you ever had someone go, oh, that girl looks just like you? And you're like,
yes,
we both have a face. I mean, you don't really, you don't get it. We're like, okay, she's got blonde hair. I get someone who's got dark hair. They think, but no. So when I heard that, I was like, if you just played that to me, I would think that was me. That's what freaked me out. I mean, that was not a subtle thing. And yeah, it was Greg. He said he saw it look just like me and it walked by the door.
Yes.
And I'm like, how weird is that? Because he's all like, where are you? And I'm like, oh, I'm ready. It was crazy.
And you were like on completely opposite side of where he was.
He was in between me and the door. I mean, I was off. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm over here. Why are you seeing me? But he's just like, why did I just see you walk by? Yeah, that was.
And the singing, you were upstairs. For people who don't know, this is two stories. And Tui was upstairs all by herself. And she's doing her EVP session. And literally with our own ears in real time, we hear the singing. Yeah. We hear it.
You guys are calling upstairs. Are you singing? And I'm like, no, I'm not singing. I know that I got a sing-song voice. So that's what I thought. I was just, I didn't think anything of it. Thank goodness you had your tape recorder there, because something that sounds exactly like me was singing and y'all heard it. That was.
But the best part is when we play it for you and you're like, well, that does sound like me.
I know. I was like, okay, now I believe you guys. Now I'm taking. I don't know. the universe humbles me because whenever I make fun of something, or I'm just kind of like, oh, that's what it turns out not. That's when it turns out to be like, yeah, well, you're going to make fun of that. Oh, we're going to give you an experience.
It was amazing. It was a good time.
It really was. But what's funny, I had been, I think, talking to Teal Gray, our friend, and I think maybe a month or two before, and there was something about doppelgangers, and she was like, oh, there's a lot of cases of those around the world. I'm like, oh, 100 years ago, it was easy to, so then next thing we know, I have a thing happen where it's some sort of doppelganger. That's why I felt like, okay, every time I say something like, oh, well, the universe kind of tries to smack me one, like, be careful, girl, don't be so judgmental.
It was great. It was great.
Yeah, it was a learning experience for me. Oh, well, all right. Now, I think we need to tell people before we run out of time, I want to tell us about your Goatman's Bridge tours. I'm going to show us a picture of Goatman's Bridge, like where it is, like how you got started. Because and if anyone watching has been on one of our tours, let us know. I've been.
Yeah.
These are pictures from when I went.
Well, Goatman's Bridge is a very haunted bridge. It's been on Ghost Adventurers, and a lot of things did happen when we did the filming of Ghost Adventurers. Not everything that people saw on TV went down how
no, really? You mean the TV wasn't exactly.
I'm sorry to bust anyone's bubble, but the things that they did catch that were real were some glowing eyes that we see in the woods quite often, and a growl that you can hear.
Wait, back up. You see glowing eyes quite often there?
Yes.
I didn't know that. We didn't see them the night I was there. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That's something. That's a thing. Okay, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just had to clarify that. I didn't know that was one of the most common things you guys see a lot. Yeah. Now, are they moving when you see them?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
And the bridge is historical, of course. It is no longer a use for cars or wagons or anything because it's very old. But it's still very much open to pedestrians and walking and horses. A lot of horses will go across the bridge. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there was some horse poop. I remember when we were going around at one point.
Oh, yeah, you have to watch for the horse poop or it could go bad quickly.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you for saying that about Zach. I thought it was okay. Well, you know.
Yeah. Well, you know, the thing is, yeah, when I saw the show back, you don't get to see when you're filming. They don't allow you to see any of the production. You do your interviews, your reenactments, and then you get to see the final thing when everyone sees it. So the whole choking thing at the very end, I'm going to say, nah.
Oh, okay.
You know, I have never felt the need to choke myself, but was it a fun experience? Yes. And were the guys, Billy and Jay and all of them, are as nice in person as you see on television. And Zach is Zach. Zach is Zach's biggest fan, I can say that. But they were very nice, and it was a good experience. And they did capture some really cool stuff.
Yeah. Well, and then here I am when I went. I was it was hot as Hades, and I'm wearing like open-toed shoes because I die in the heat, and I got my signature hat on, of course. And you're all like, girl, why did you bring some closed-toed shoes? And I'm like, there's snakes down here.
Tennis shoes and jeans, and look at this photo, how cute she is. And we're like, you do know we're going in haunted woods, right?
They have really good traction. They're these kind of cushiony, a dog chewed them up. Unfortunately, my sister's dog chewed. But I loved these. I used to wear them to cemeteries a lot because they're really high, squishy shoes with good traction. And they would keep me up away from the fire ants and everything. But when you mentioned the snakes, I realized how stupid I was being. But I was so darn hot. And anyway, and the funny thing was, while we were going, at one point I put a flashlight down and I saw a wolf spider with babies on it. I'm totally scared of spiders, so that was like a heart-pounding moment for me, and I really realized how stupid I was being. But whatever, it was a wonderful time here. I kept falling behind people so I could get some pictures, so people can see. Now, if people want to do the tours, how often do you do them?
We don't do them in the summer at all because of the snakes. The snakes are too bad. So we will start back at the end of September, and we will be doing them all through October, every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And you can find those on BeckysGhostHunters.com. That'll take you to a link to purchase tickets, and we have a lot of fun during the Halloween season. It gets crazy out there.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. Now, I'm just thinking, because this place has gotten so much publicity. How often do you run into other people now when you're out there? Because you've been doing this.
Time.
How long have you been out there?
Gosh, I've been going to the bridge maybe 20 or more years. I didn't even know about the bridge when I moved to this area in North Texas, and someone, they knew I did all the paranormal stuff and were like, have you ever been to the bridge? And I'm like, what bridge?
Yeah.
And sure enough, I started taking equipment out and going at night, and it was insanely active. So it was awesome. Oh, and look at all that fun gear.
And this is just some of it. And all right, so now you started going out there and you're bringing gear and just getting all sorts of responses. And so when did you decide to start taking people? Just people kept asking to go with you, or how did you develop this great tour? Because I've been on it. It's really fun.
Oh, thank you for that, Tui. Well, I just started just with me and then a couple of friends I would take, because I'd be like, you got to come to this bridge. It's so active. And it just grew and grew and grew. And so I just found myself, wanting to find out more about the history. And I decided to develop a tour so I could actually expose other people to, the history and the paranormal activity and let them have their own experience. So
it's really neat. I highly recommend it, people. It should be on your bucket list. So especially if you're in Texas, you've got to go. I think check out, there are all sorts of links to Becky down below, so you can stalk her like I did while I was making this show. I felt like a stalker. I really was. I was just digging through there. Yeah. So these are some more pictures. What was I going to say? Oh, I wanted to ask you. This is something. Tell us about this a little bit.
Okay. So after we filmed Ghost Adventures, a lot of you guys saw, if you watched the episode, Jay does a ritual in a circle, and he swears it's not a ritual, and he's summoning these universal creatures that he has never done before, he's never practiced, and it was a bad idea.
No kidding.
Yeah, for real, right? I mean, the guy's reading off of his hand, and it was not good, not good. But after that, what we call an altar showed up. It's made of this, twigs around it are burned, and they're black, and they're woven with this netting stuff.
It looks like a nest, but
yeah,
like a Bigfoot nest or a Goatman. I mean, it's just so it's so weird.
We finally found out the board you can barely see in the center. It was an altar, and a Wiccan told us that it would be used by no one she knows of in the North Texas area would do any sort of offering or summoning with this kind of altar, because you would lay maybe a snake, the sign of Satan and stuff, in the center, and summon something evil in, is what she told us. So it eventually, someone tore it up. It stayed there for 2 or 3 years afterwards, and no one ever touched it. But eventually,
I don't think I would want to be the one to dismantle it. Wow.
Hell no. I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but I'm pretty sure they're in the hospital right now.
Yeah, really. Now, I've got to ask, are there times, or have there been times when, like certain kind of activities are happening more at the bridge than others, maybe you're getting more EVPs, or is it kind of steady, or how does it, I'm just always curious about the rhythms of these places, like if you notice certain times a year or
well, when we caught a lot of activity, the original thing that caught Zach Bagan's interest, we did that on Friday the 13th, which for your viewers and all the people, it's coming up, right? Friday the 13th. And a lot of people take that in 2 different ways. It's either a really good day or it's a really bad day. For us, we caught a lot of crazy stuff at night. And I think down at the bridge, it's so active and popular now because of the media and social media.
Yeah.
You really have to wait till around 2 o'clock. And then things get a little interesting, because there's not so many people, and you can actually listen and pay attention to what you're seeing in your surroundings. So, if you really want to get some good activity, go after 2 a.m.
Now, are you naturally a night owl, or
I'm sorry, am I naturally a night owl?
are you a night owl? I think it's yeah.
Hell no, girl. No, I go to bed at 9 o'clock in PJs. So only when I'm ghost hunting, I have to suck it up. And, that's my mindset is like, okay, Becky, go to bed every night at 9 a.m. Suck it up, stay up all night long and ghost hunt. So, no, I'm not a night owl.
Oh, all right.
But like you talked about, your adrenaline gets going and you're so anxious to see things and film things that, it keeps you going all night long.
Yeah, that's true. It does. I usually have one. I'm drinking a little bit of iced coffee. I know it's kind of late in the day, but it's just on a hot day like this sometimes anyway. But I mean, when I'm going on a ghost hunt. Oh yeah. Well, see, I'm usually, you'd like this. I got this. Isn't this a great mug? I got it at the dollar store a while ago. I have like 4 of them. I should save one for you. I've got a few. They fit in my cup holder really well. Okay, I'll save one for you. Yeah.
Green's my favorite color too.
Oh yeah, I know, it's so cute. I love this thing and the reusable stuff. So I'm drinking tea and coffee at the same time. I know, but it's Texas and it's hot, Now I'm not sure what Wade's getting at. Sometimes they have side conversations going on while during the show, so I'm suddenly like, "What are you guys talking about?"
And I keep looking. I'm looking at you, but in my monitor it makes me look down. So
oh yeah.
So everybody, I'm paying attention to Tui, but when I'm looking down, I'm actually looking at Tui.
Yeah, she's ordering takeout. What? No.
Yeah, I don't want y'all to think I'm not paying attention.
Yeah, she's done so many interviews. She's just on no. Yeah, and look at Friday the 13th at the day of nights. Well, I'm not sure what you're getting at there, Wade, but that's a whoosh moment for me. You're gonna have to explain on. Yeah. All right. So we talked a little bit. Now, is Ghost Adventures the only show that you've been on? I thought you've been on some others. Oh, here we go.
Okay, so there we are filming, and literally, guys, I'll tell you an inside secret to this. We filmed, and Tui's in Texas with me, so she knows. We filmed for the October episode Route 666 in July for 4 solid days and nights. We didn't leave.
What a meltdown!
Oh my God! It never got below 98 at night, and I thought it was really funny because Zach. Yeah. They're from Nevada.
Oh,
and he couldn't take it. He stayed at the big bus half the time. He's like, it's just too hot here.
That is hilarious.
Jay and all them, they were cool. They hung out, but y'all, we sweated our butts off on that.
I bet, man. That would be pretty darn intense. Oh, Wade's explaining. He says it was a Friday the 13th when the Knights Templar were exterminated. Oh, is that the main reason? I hear a lot of things about Fridays being times for execution. It's so fun. It's total aside here, but you mentioned Friday the 13th. That's the 13 is actually a lucky number in Italy, so they don't get it.
That's why. Some people think it's a really good day, and it's all about your intention, right? What do you intend? Do you intend to have a good day, or you intend to have a bad day?
Yeah, because you go to tourist spots there, and they'll have little keychains with like this Pagliacci figure guy, or the number 13 on them, and then a 4-leaf clover. And other good, and I'm like 13 with all these good luck symbols, and that's because to them it's a good luck number. But anyway, interesting. Yeah. So any more backstory you can tell us about this, or shall we move along?
One of the things on the Ghost Adventures that was a real true thing was the Ashley event where she was taken over, possessed. Literally, I was the only female there at the time. I witnessed that firsthand. It was very traumatic for her. Enough that she quit the show afterwards. And we stayed in touch for a little while. And I sent her some protection stones and different things. But it affected her greatly.
Wow.
Her. So that part was not exaggerated. That really went down as you guys see that.
Wow. Yeah, that's really kind of scary.
It was very scary.
Yeah. Just on your general tours, have you ever had anything happen where someone just had to quit in the middle? You've been doing them so long, I can imagine you've had pretty much everything happen.
We've had people get physically ill, like within 15 minutes of entering the woods. There's a certain part of the woods where a lot of satanic stuff takes place. And we've had people throw up, are sick, and we have to get them out of the space. countless scratches, and mostly, unfortunately, it's females because
Oh,
there is a spirit there that
oh
is
yeah.
yeah, Steve, and I
We
think
can
we
talk
talked
about
about
that.
him too with you.
Mhm.
But yeah, so a lot of female get touched inappropriately or scratched on their backs, places that they could not possibly do.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of physical stuff goes on.
You know, here's something weird, and I don't really know what to make of this other than, well, that's kind of funny. So I take a lot of notes, and I was, going back through my notes and putting out, Paranormal Texas. And I was like, it was so funny because several different places I went, like 8 or 9 at least, had sort of a recurring, unpleasant, intelligent entity there, and
Yeah,
would come through when they could get a name for it, like on a ghost box or some other way. The name was Steve for all these different ones, and they're not the same ones. And which is hilarious to me on one level because my big brother's name is Steve and he's the nicest guy ever. But I'm like, he's got a career here in the afterlife. He can come down to be mean.
yes,
But I just was like, what's the deal with the name Steve? And so I'm curious now. Like, I would like to see a map of grouchy male intelligent spirits around. Like, wouldn't that be an interesting, the name?
yes.
Steve isn't, I would have expected maybe something like a more Texas-y sounding name like Randy or something. Or I don't know. But Steve, I don't know what the deal is there. Well, that was an odd thing.
I've heard that too. We really believe we have, or I researched actually a Steve that lived in the old town here that was just a horrendous, evil man.
Horrible.
And so I do believe that he resides there. But I have heard that a lot of demonic entities will be a modern name like Steve. And even Zach Bagans has talked about that on additional shows about what they encountered at the bridge with, what he believes is a demonic entity that try to make us feel more comfortable with a name of our modern times like Steve.
Yeah, so, not some antiquated name like Azrael or, whatever. It's like, yeah. Steve, just someone you'd bump into at the corner bar. Maybe something to be said for that. Well, this is a good segue. This is a good time for you to tell us about your book. And people, I'm picky when it comes to books and their research. So I read this book, pretty much gobbled it up. And I was so impressed I'd never really read your writing before, except your blog. Of course, I enjoyed your blog. But I mean, this was just like, wow. And I really appreciated the deep research you did, and that Steve guy, that part though, yuck, what a horrible, I mean, I had to read that part fast because he's a terrible character and what he did to that poor woman. Yeah. So, but yeah, people, I have links below, of course. This book is really great. I really, really enjoyed it. And I recommend reading it and then booking a tour, because their tours aren't going to start till September. So you have time to read the book and then you'll be ready.
Yes.
So tell us some more about this book, because I love it.
So thank you for that, too. I'm glad you enjoyed the book, and I love all your books, and I have them. They're all behind me on my bookcase. You know that. The book was quite a long endeavor. It was always something I wanted to do, and I always have known I wanted to write about the Goatman's Bridge. I tried to put a lot of pictures in the book so people will see what we're talking about, but it has a lot of history. Then I talk about individual spirits that we've encountered, and then I wanted to throw in what you can do to talk to particular spirits. So like Eleanor is one of the spirits that we talk to, which is a very kind lady, but she manifests by smells. So when she's around, you smell things like fried chicken, things that would be in the 18th peach cobbler, those sort of things. So I really tried to implement how to have your own personal experience.
I was there. There were some weird smells, I remember. Oh, okay.
There were. I think there were.
I think it might have been the peach cobbler. We were like smelling dessert. Yeah.
Yes.
I was all like, oh, great, because I love that. And then I was like, oh, it's a phantom cobbler? Darn.
Yeah. So the bridge is just a wealth of good spirits versus the bad, because there's definitely a lot of satanic stuff involved that still to this day is as recent as a few months ago, evidence that still is taking place, which is not good.
Like what? What evidence? You got to tell me. I'm freaked.
Okay. So literally we found down in I think I posted it on our Facebook page, but there were candles and there was blood splatter. It wasn't blood. I'm going to take that statement back. It was paint that they tried to make look like blood. But y'all, there were so many pictures of angels upside down and Jesus. And someone had taken a red paintbrush or something and just splattered it with blood and drew pentagrams around it. Crazy.
Weirdness. Yeah.
Yes.
So really weird stuff. So people are really, and that's such an active spot. Like people, even if they don't know what they're doing, you know what I mean? People like someone just wants to pretend or feel, I don't know, you know, it's kind of creepy. Do you think, I mean, when you find that kind of stuff, does that sort of amplify the energy or you notice a difference? Like,
definitely your sixth sense kicks in and you're more aware and you try to pay more attention. For us, it's definitely a signal that something's happened there that, you know, we've got to pay attention to. We never touch it. We don't take things down. We don't pack things up. We never touch.
You don't want to take stuff home, I'm sure.
No. Usually the police will come and bag that stuff up. But
oh wow.
Yeah, so it's a lot of, and please, that's a warning to all of your fans and listeners tonight. Please don't touch anything because you don't know what the intent of that was. Was it intended to bring evil things? And now you're the conduit of it, and it could come home with you. So please.
Have you ever had anything follow you home from the bridge? Or really? Oh,
yes. Before I started doing protection prayers, long time ago, I literally do feel that one of the children followed me home, and what happened at that? Just my daughter and I live here alone, and all the water in the house came on at the same time. All the faucets in the kitchen and the bathroom, the lights flickering, the smoke alarms going off, TV coming on and off in the middle of the night, unplugged, unplugged, and it's coming on. So crazy stuff. You know, we had to smudge the house. My daughter freaked out, standing out in the yard screaming.
Oh my gosh.
But it's all good now. We have an understanding, me and the spirits down at the bridge. They don't come home with me anymore.
That's good. You know, that's another case of like when you don't do some sort of spiritual hygiene, for lack of a better word.
I love that.
It bites you. I've had that happen where I slack. So I don't anymore. I have brought things home and I've had it like physically, I thought I was getting sick. I wake up in the middle of the night with a cold sweat and I make a doctor appointment. And then like a psychic friend will just tell me like, what is going on with you? And we'll do some hygiene, spiritual hygiene, and then everything's fine. I feel good. And I've learned that lesson more than once. I should have learned it once.
It can, and I dare say, I think we're going to see a lot more of that on TV. That part of it, because TV makes it look very fun and exciting, and you just go stand in a haunted house and take pictures and recorders. And anybody that's done it knows there's much more to that. There's a lot of risk, and you do have to do a lot of protection, putting up your walls and saying protection prayers at the end of the night. So that's very important.
Oops. Sorry. Sorry, you guys hear that? Spam risk. That spam risk really wants to get a hold of me. They love me, whoever they are. Oh, well, my dad just got out of the hospital, so I'm like, if he called, I just wanted to know, you know. So he's like, anyway, he's 90, so he had his leg amputated, and he's doing fine. It was scary, so I know.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, well, when he started making peg leg jokes, we knew he was coming through, because it's a lot to grapple with, like psychologically, and everyone was just so up. It was just so anyway.
Many hugs, my friend.
Oh yeah, you would love my dad. He's so sweet. He has his own little fans. I posted a really cute picture, and I should have shared it here. My sister cut his. You know, he hasn't been able to shave for like 2 months, so she gave him this really cool like mustache. Anyway, so, now before we go, I want to make sure you have time to tell us about dreams and screams, and I want people on here, if you have questions for Becky, y'all, this is the time to ask because, we're already running over a little bit here. So go ahead and tell us.
Okay, very quickly, my Dreams and Screams Spectacular is with the Haunted Hill House in Mineral Wells. It is on October 23rd. It's a one night only. It's going to be a Halloween bash from hell. You're gonna be able to go through the house and tour the house. We're gonna have costume contests, vendors, food trucks. We're gonna have the torture booth where you can put someone in there with haunted dolls and haunted objects.
Yikes!
It's going to be a lot of Halloween fun. One night only. If you want to do a VIP ticket, then after the activities are over, you're going to be allowed to spend the night in the house with a designated room just for yourself.
Oh my gosh. So, now, everyone, you guys might remember I just had, I'll show her here, Martha was just on, Martha Hazard, and was just talking, Martha Decker was just talking about Hill House. So so anyone watches this show very much, they will have heard about Hill House a few times. And I got to say, that place, there's another place that's very active. That sounds like a wild night, Becky. I have to say, the first time I visited that house, it contacted me the night before and gave me the weirdest, like, waking dream sensation thing.
Really?
It was even hard for me to talk about. It's hard to describe. I was awake, but I wrote about it in Teal's book about the Hill House, but it was strange. Like, I didn't even know how to explain it. It gave me the sensation of, like, it gave me like to understand like what it might be to be trapped in between dimensions or something. It was one of the weird. It's very hard for me to talk about, but yeah, it was strange. So people, this place, and this is a place that Jack Osborne called the scariest place they visited this season. I think he was pretty freaked out.
Well, even when I was there talking with Kathy maybe a month ago, we were trying to come up with the event that we wanted to do, something really fun and different for Halloween. And literally, we were in one room and her husband was in another, and we were able to show it on Facebook Live if you guys want to go back and watch it. But candelabra flies across the room. Nobody was near it, and her husband was in shock, and he's like, I'm going to need y'all to come in here. And so we went back and pulled cameras, and you can thoroughly see it.
That is a really, really, that place I hear too. I haven't even been there for a while, and I hear from everyone that it's just escalating. So I don't know what it is about that place, but it's just getting more and more, and if it was not at its top when I visited it, man, it was already very active. So I can only imagine what it's like now. So
it's a crazy place. So you guys have to come out and join us. It's going to be a good time. Yeah,
come on out, October 23rd. I'll be sure to give it a shout out again. All right, Kenneth in Colorado says, great show. Thank you, Tui and Becky.
Oh, thank you. Thank you guys for hanging out with us.
Yeah, and thanks. And Gail England, she enjoyed it too. Yeah, everybody, remember you can check out more about, you got to check out all of the links to Becky down there below. So we've got all sorts of links down there, all sorts of fun links. Check them out. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Becky, for being with us. Now, is there anything that I didn't cover that you want to tell us? What are you working on now? Is it mostly just getting ready for your show, or?
Yeah, well, I'm going to be, if anybody's gone to the Roadhouse, I'm going up to Chicago next month to investigate that. And it's going to be some fun stuff. But Halloween's coming up, so it's going to be a lot of fun stuff. You guys can come hang out with us. And Tui, I'm hoping to have you out on something. So thank you for having me on the show. And I loved it. And I loved all your fans' comments. And it was way fun.
There's such a nice crew. All right. Well, thank you very much. And good night, everybody. And be sure to, I just want to tell you, come back next week. I have got... Oops, I'm showing the wrong person, but real quick, let me just show you who's coming. Where is it? Where is it? Good grief. I thought it was just right there. No, we just had her. We've had a lot of fun guests, you guys. Oh, here, next week, I have got, if any of you watched Hellier or the Pennyroyal podcast, I have got Nathan Isaac to talk about some super weird stuff that's happening in Kentucky. So make sure you come and see that. And also, of course, check all the links below. And Debbie is saying, thank you for an interesting, I knew you were going to love, I knew you guys were going to love Becky. I wasn't worried. Okay,
thank you guys for all your sweet comments.
All right. Hope to see you in real life sometime soon. And
right.
oh, the McIntyres love it too. All right. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.